Okay, so earlier tonight I went to go see the new Kingsman movie, Kingsman and the Golden Circle. Um, well, before I get into, my thoughts on the movie, I may as well talk about the original movie. Um, Now, Kingsman and the Secret Service came out 2 years ago. Um, and you know what? It was actually really good. It is exactly what I was looking for. Like, it's a really good spy spoof kind of movie. But it's a kind of a violent movie, but it's awesome. Like the highlights are Sam Jackson as the villain Valentine. He like it's very against type for him. Like he played like a villain. Like he likes to kill. He has no problem killing people, but he really doesn't like the sight of blood. Again, very much unlike Sam Jackson himself. That's really against type for him to play. He's got kind of a little lift, talk like this a little bit. Gives him a little bit more of a personality. That's pretty cool. And the fight scenes were awesome. Like some of the best action scenes of that year or in a while. I mean, Mad Max came along and topped those, but you know, still really good. And the movie itself is really good. It's a nice kind of spy spoof movie, not what you normally see. And they did really well at the box office. I'm glad to see that. So of course we got a sequel. So how does Kingsman: The Golden Circle hold up? Well, a lot of people haven't been too fond of the movie. Not really audiences, although it did do fine at the box office. Although audiences weren't as positive towards this one as they were the original, and it goes for critics too. But you know what? I still thought this was good. Not as good as the first one, but still very good. Um, Now I brought Sam. Well, before I get into the good stuff, let's go ahead and get the negatives out of the way. The villain in this movie, Poppy, who's played by Julianne Moore, she ain't very good. I compare her to Sam Jackson in the first movie, Valentine. I just described him. Poppy? Um, well, she has a fondness for a 50s aesthetic, as she says in one line in the movie, which is why her base of operations is like 50s aesthetic based. Um, uh, she's kind of a little bit twisted, and like she has no problem sticking people to meat grinders and serving burgers made out of their meat. That's a thing that happens in the movie, kind of early on too. Um, that's really it. Basically, her plan in the movie is to put some kind of poison in the drugs that she distributes. We're not really told how that's supposed to work, but whatever. It's a movie, and basically, she wants um, the president to stop the war on drugs because she thinks all drugs should be legalized and taxed and whatever. Um, which I don't know if that's a better or worse plan than Valentine's plan in the first movie. I couldn't tell you because I don't remember Valentine's plan in the original anyway. Um, um, and speaking of the president, that's the other thing about this movie that I really didn't get. Like, is he supposed to be like okay? I think what they were trying to do was parody Trump. I don't know. I don't know because was that what they were trying to do? Because they failed. Because one, he looks nothing like Trump. I mean, let's face it, Bruce Greenwood, who plays the president, looks nothing like Trump. Two, he doesn't sound like Trump. If anything, he sounds more like George Bush, Jr., not Senior. Which, if they're in fact, in the movie, his character is basically like he hates everybody who's a drug user, no matter what. And in fact, he basically more or less tricks Poppy into, I don't know, like he's like, oh, I'll let you give out the antidote, and then he's like, yeah, I tricked her, and then he wants every drug user to die, including who I think is supposed to be like I don't know. I don't know what her character is. I, they don't explain what her role is in his administration. She's supposed to be the Ralph the movie maker said she might be his vice president. I don't know. I'm pretty sure she's supposed to be because he gets impeached in the end. Spoilers. And by the way, he would have gotten away with it scot free anyway. I'm almost entirely sure in the real world. And then she takes over as president. So I think she's meant to be the vice president anyway. Whatever. But getting back to the point, is he supposed to? If he's meant to be parodying George Bush, but with him looking a little more like George Bush, sounding more like George Bush, and George Bush basically, you know, kind of making the war on drugs worse. If that's who he's supposed to be satirizing, guys, everybody else is beating you to the punch on that already. You're really late. So yeah, the stuff with Poppy is not a very good villain. And the stuff with the president didn't make any sense whatsoever. Now let's get to the good stuff. Action's really good as always in this movie. The last fight in the movie is done all in one shot. Let me try that again. The last fight in the movie is done all in one shot, much like the church fight in the first movie, and it looks really good. And like every action scene in this movie looks really good, as it should. Like there's no rapid cuts, which I will not demonstrate what that looks like because I don't hate my audience. But it actually looks good. It's fun. It's fluid. It's kinetic. It's awesome. And it's like the action in this movie is just as good as the original. I will contend that. Performances are good. Like even like the American counterpart to the Kingsman, who are the statesmen, they're kind of like they're kind of exaggerated, like American stereotypes, but you might be able to say that about the Kingsmen themselves. Well, yeah, I guess maybe you can't, but anyways, they all do a good job. You got Channing Tatum in there. I liked his character. You got Jeff Bridges. He's not in the movie much, but you know he's basically playing Jeff Bridges. Halle Berry doesn't really do anything, unfortunately, even though I like her. It's too bad she doesn't do much. You also have another character who I swear was Orlando Bloom until I looked the movie up on IMDb. It's not Orlando Bloom, but I thought that was him. I liked him. They brought Colin Firth back, which I don't know why they did that. I mean, he died in the first movie. Spoiler alert for those who have not seen the first movie. The trailer more or less gave away he'd be coming back in this movie anyway, so he doesn't really get a whole lot to do. Like, excuse me. He doesn't get a whole lot to do. There's this thing with him, like, he's been out of commission for so long, like a year. So, like, he's not quite up to stuff with his skills as a fighter, as demonstrated when it looks like they're gonna do a retread of the bar fight from the first movie, but then it turns out, oh, he's kind of not good at this anymore because he's had amnesia, which, you know, amnesia, it's original, but oh well, I don't care. I mean, it's a trope. And speaking of tropes, a lot of this movie, a lot of what the first movie did was like kind of spoofed, spy movie tropes like you would see in James Bond. This one kind of, this one has no problem with just playing them straight. Which, you know what? If it wants to play these tropes straight, I don't mind. I mean, it's not as interesting as just straight up spoofing them. But if they want to do these tropes straight, that's fine by me. I don't have a problem with that. I just care if it's good. And you know what? Still a good movie. Good action, good directing, just a good movie all around. So I guess I don't have much more to say about it. So let's go ahead and sum up my points for this movie. One, Poppy as a villain is not very good. Two, the stuff with the president, it doesn't make any sense and isn't very good. Three, action, still great, on point, and just as good as the original. And four, and though it doesn't spoof the spy tropes this time around, which could have been a little more interesting, that's not a problem because it's still fun and entertaining. And the fact that, and again, the fact that it doesn't, they place these tropes kind of straight, not a problem for me. So overall, I give my final score for the movie a 7.5 out of 10. Alright? I'll see you guys next time. Take care.